Hello everyone, this is Hank. Hey, I'm back with a new series on the EOS RP. I basically wanted to go back to basics and explain different menu items. Okay, so this first one I'm going to talk about the shoot menu, which is the red menu. And this particular video I'm going to talk about the first of the shoot menu, which is the one that you're looking at. I'm going to talk about these 4 items for this video and then continue with subsequent videos that cover all of the shoot menu. Okay, so with this, the first item is called image quality, and out of the box, the default is a large format JPEG picture. Now, if you press the set button, you go in here, and that's basically the setting. There's no RAW file and JPEG. Okay, so now the default ratio is 4, which is 3:2. Okay, and with that, the large format, which is this one here, is 6240 by 4160, so it gives you a full 26 megapixel. All right, so the next choice would be basically the same, except that the quality is compressed some more, so it's poorer quality for smaller size but same resolution. And then you have the medium, which is 4160 by 2768. Again, you have the high quality JPEG versus compressed JPEG. And then you have a small format, which is even smaller, 3120 by 2080. And again, in high quality JPEG and compressed JPEG. And then you have the S2, which is the smallest, 2400 by 1600. Okay, and it's only got one resolution. Okay. So now, since hard drive and SD card are so cheap nowadays, there's no reason to crimp on it. There's no reason to save it, unless in an emergency. So I highly recommend that if you shoot JPEG, use the default. Okay. Now, for those people, myself included, that use nothing but RAW, then I can go ahead and turn this JPEG off. So before I could do that, I got to go choose the RAW. So go to the RAW. Now, the RAW, as you can tell, okay, has it has 2 kinds of RAW files. Okay, the first one is called RAW, and the other one is called CRAW. And the CRAW stands for Canon RAW. And, okay, now, if you look at the, above there, you got 26 megapixels, 6240 by 4160, and then in square bracket is 2562. That's basically a number of RAW files that my card can handle, can take, okay, which is a 128 gig card. Okay, if you go to CRAW, you go to CRAW here, it can take 3500, so it can take almost like 1,000 shot more. So obviously, CRAW is smaller than RAW in terms of size. Okay, now, Canon RAW, I'm not really sure what exactly the spec for that, and I think it is a 12-bit RAW file. Now, this RAW here, I know is 14-bit. It's in CR3 format, 14-bit RAW file. So it has more resolution, and hence the size is bigger. So now, because, as I said, SD cards are cheap, hard drive cards are cheap, there's no reason to get a smaller one. So you get the most bang for your buck. You pay a lot of money to get the camera of this caliber. You don't want to cripple it by saving a little bit of thing, and that's my opinion. So I would choose RAW, But I don't really want JPEG because I can always get a JPEG from the RAW file. So when I shoot, I set image quality to RAW. It's up to you. Okay, the next one is cropping aspect ratio. As I mentioned before, the full size sensor, the format is 3:2. Okay. Now, that is the full one. That's the biggest possible size. Now, Canon allows you 4 other choices. Okay, the first one is a 1.6. Okay, which is basically, it takes it from the middle, it magnifies from the middle, and it drops out the edges and cropped out, to give you a 1.6 crop ratio, meaning that magnifying by 1.6. I'm not really sure what the application for. It's probably because when you shoot wildlife or something and you have a problem with reach, you cannot reach it and you want it to be big, so you zoom in. But you can always do that in post-processing as well, right? But anyway, just to give you an idea of what each of them look like. Okay, so the full one here is basically gives you a 3.2 ratio like that. Okay, now if I go in and choose 1.6, look what happened. So it basically just cropped from the center, so the dog looks a whole lot bigger than with the other one. Now 1:1 is, you might have guessed, right? 1:1, you get a square picture. So it crops it for you. 4.3, 4:3 is basically the old TV format. Okay, so you got 4.3 there. And 16.9 is a new TV format. Okay, now interestingly, the full one here gives you all of the resolution, and if you want, you can always go in and crop it in post-processing. So I don't really see the reason to choose any of this. And I suspect that the reason the Canon gives you is like if you were, like, say, a journalist, and you are taking pictures for a newspaper or something like that, and they want the pictures right away, right? You go to a sport stadium and you take pictures, and they want the pictures right away, so they got a courier come there, and after you finish with the cart, you pull out the cart and give it to the courier. Courier took it back, and they want a certain format. So they don't want to mess with post-processing or anything like that. I can see that you can set that. But for the rest of us, okay, where we can do post-processing, there's no reason to set any of this, because you can always get any of these formats from the full, but you can't go backward from the full without losing something. So I would choose full here and just leave it at that, right? Okay. Now the next one is image review. Image review simply means that after you take a picture, right, the review of the pictures you just took automatically pops up on the LCD and the viewfinder for you to look at for 2 seconds if you leave it at default, or you can choose 4 seconds, or you can choose 8 seconds, or you can choose whole, which means that you hold it there until you do something else. Now my recommendation for this is off. Why? The reason is that you have a review button that you can press anytime to look at the last picture. That's not a problem. Now if you have it on automatically, okay, even if you're using it, what happened is that if you just take a single picture, it's fine. Now if you take a high-speed drive, right? So you want a 5 frames per second. And this image review is going to prevent you from doing that very well, because, this thing pops up fighting against, your ability to see the the viewfinder to take the next shot, and it dramatically slow down the frame rate. So the RP is not very fast. I think it's got like officially is 5 frames per second. In order for you to get 5 frames per second, you definitely have to set this image review to off. Okay, so I recommend that you just leave it off, and you press the review button when you need to chimp it. I'm a chimper. I chimp all the time, and I turn this one off. Okay, release shutter without cart. Basically, that's exactly what it says there. Okay, that means that you can take the shot without the cart, and obviously you cannot save it, but you can take the shot just for practice or whatever. Now, I highly recommend that you just turn that feature off. One time I spent more than an hour taking all kinds of pictures, and only to come home and discover that I didn't have a card in it. I lost everything for the whole session. So that was not fun. You get into one of those situations and you remember real quick. Don't turn it on. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop the video here. My next video, I'm going to talk about Shoot 2, which is these two here. They seem to be short, but they're not short, especially the external speed light control. I'm going to talk about both of them in the next episode. Meanwhile, thank you very much for your attention. I will talk to you soon.